Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. The highly anticipated Khameleon is now out for Mortal Kombat 1, and Khameleon is definitely something else, as she has her own completely unique mechanic as a cameo. As you can see here on the top left, the character, if you would, that she is constantly switches, and you have no control over this, by the way. It's just kind of on a timer, and every time it switches over, your moveset changes over. So while she's Mileena, quote unquote, you might have the Mileena roll, but say while she's Jade, she'll have the Jade boomerangs, and this will keep changing up. And the thing that's really interesting about her is, I think, at least in this early time frame, I think these moves are much stronger than a lot of the average cameo moves are. But the fact that you have them set on sort of a randomized-ish timer, in that, you don't really have any control over, is sort of the balancing factor. So let's talk about it. Now, before we break into the specific movesets and what's possible with this crazy cameo, let's just talk about what limited control you do have over the switching. So yes, time goes by, it will switch on its own, right? But whenever you call any move, if you hold the cameo call button, at the end of that specific move, it will switch to the next version. So here, as Jade, call the cameo, hold the button, switches to Kitana. Kitana, call the cameo, hold the button, switches to Mileena, so on and so forth. And yes, unlike previous builds, there is a fixed order. So it'll always go to Jade to Kitana, Kitana to Mileena, and then Mileena to Jade. So you can hold the button, that's one way to switch. Another way to force a switch is to hit back cameo. So this is the one universal move. Every character, if you will, can do it. Kitana can do it, Mileena can do it, Jade can do it. And this puts a big old just glass shield on you. And when you do this, it will force Khameleon to go into the next stage. So whatever the next character will be in the pipeline, you'll go into that character. And this move is pretty interesting by itself too. Also, when you switch over, the recharge on this move is very generous and very fast. So don't feel you're losing out just because you're calling the ambush just to get this in, right? The recharge is stupendous, and the move itself is not bad. So you can see here, this big crystalline glowing bit here, a little bit of translucency. This is a damage shield effectively. So let's say standard uppercut, all right, 140 damage. If I got my shield up, then how much am I going to take? I'm going to be taking 70. Whatever the next hit is, and this is true on block as well, by the way. So whatever the next hit is, you just simply take half as much damage across the board. So it's not necessarily like a game-winning tech by itself, but once again, it's a cheap, easy way to refresh which character you actually want, especially because it's an ambush call. You can call it whenever, and the recharge rate is very fast, and, less damage on the next hit. Why not? Let's go for it. So now let's talk the various characters here. Let's start with Jade. So first off, Jade does give you access to the classic Jade glow, where you glow purple, and while you're glowing purple, you better believe you're immune to all projectiles in the game. Not armor, nothing like that, you just are full invincible, they completely pass through you. And one of the handy things about this is it's an ambush call, right? So you can be doing, your own projectiles, your own zoning war stuff while you call it, and just rest assured, you're invincible to all projectiles. Always one of the strongest traits of Jade, and she can pass that along to you through the Khameleon Kameo. And also the recharge rate, pretty generous for what it is. It recharges fast. Okay, so now let's talk boomerang. So earlier in the video I mentioned how a lot of these moves are exceptionally strong, and I think the only real weakness of the character is the fact that it's random and you have no real, you have limited control over what stance she's going to be in, right? Boomerang's a good example of that. So at bare minimum, you throw it, and it's one of those deals where it comes back, right? So it can hit twice. Pretty good. And this is no Serena boomerang. This stuff is a mid. You are not neutral ducking this, by the way. So inherently, just off the bat, a lot more deadly. Also, if you hold a direction while you hit the button, you actually can influence the angles a little bit, which is very interesting. So the default is, a little bit mid, but you can also, as you can see here, have it a little bit arcing if you hold up or down. So the screen control aspect is very, very strong, because this can easily rip someone out of the air, out of a hop, out of a jump, whatever it may be. So for general zoning, not too bad. Not the least of which here, if it connects, it's combo okay. So if the second part of the boomerang connects at all, you will get them in a full combo. And keep in mind, if the first part connects, it's a natural combo. So it's the easiest setup in the world. So by itself, just as a general projectile, very strong. The only other thing comparable, once again, Serena's boomerangs, but those are highs. These are mids. You are not getting around it the same way. Now, if that was it by itself, okay, that'd be something. But, so say I want to do some block strings, right? I want to do my move here and, call the thing. The initial hit is plus on block. It's plus on block, which is crazy to me. It's +3. And before you go, well, I believe I'll just mash reversal because this is summon call. Keep in mind, on a lot of strings, you can make this a true block string, which is very powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. Now, that said, to note, if you call it and you get hit after the fact, the boomerang will not return. So there's no return boomerang on getting hit. So even though it's decidedly your advantage, your plus frames, you can jail into it, all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily free the pressure after the fact, but still very strong. And of course, if you smell the reversal coming, right, you can still just block. So it's like whatever, right? But yeah, just plus on block. You can jail into it. You can make it gapless, right? The fact that it returns, and depending on the string as well, it's all just one big happy combo family, right? So kind of no real downsides of the move. The only downside, once again, is you just can't be in Jade stance forever. So now let's talk Kitana. So has the Kitana fan toss. It's a high projectile, relatively fast-ish, not tons of damage. Does knock down though, that's handy. But the knockdown is a long knockdown, so you can dash in. That's good. It's handy, pressure, right? But if you're closer, it's actually 2 hits. The first hit will launch the enemy, and then it's a nice big juggle. And sure enough, then with a big launcher, right? If you're looking for just easy bread and butter combos, sure, like it's all there, right? Nothing mind blowing, but easy access. That's good. The projectile is, frankly, compared to some of the other moves that Khameleon has, a little boring, but she does have the ambush call as well, which is an ambush super jump. Like, hey, look, Ma, I'm playing an anime fighter because I just super jumped from full screen. This is what the Kitana version of Khameleon lets you do, and it's pretty wild. Now, for one, being able to ambush super jump whenever you want obviously means combo potential can change up. So like a string here for Shao, forward 1, 2, 2, right? You can go in knee or go in the EX knee, get your usual combo, right? But what if we sass it up a little bit more? So now here, after I launch you, I can go right into the air, right? And then keep the usual combo structure flowing. This is, admittedly sort of basic example, but a lot of strings normally that would cause, say, like a launch state that you can't get many follow-ups from, now you can. Another thing, after the initial call, you can hold either forward or back and then go further, right? So as full screen as we showed earlier, or if you hit back, you can kind of just hop in place, almost like, say, King of Fighters short hops. And now, let's say for pressure, right? We do whatever hit confirm string we have. Okay, we didn't get the hit confirm, whatever. Should we lose our turn? No, let's keep our turn going. Let's keep the party going here. Oh, not my turn, call her. Oh, let's get a jump in and keep going, right? So as long as the Kitana version is up, you can turn any block string into just a jump in, like, and just keep going and going. The pressure doesn't get the stop. And to note here, like so many of these other very powerful moves, the recharge time on this is actually pretty fast. So don't feel bad for doing it because you're going to get that cameo meter back in no time at all. So the pressure game gets to be pretty ridiculous because it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, and they really have to specifically call you out. Because like, okay, you know what, I'll just do my reversal, right? As soon as there's a gap here, I'm going to hit the button. Well, you know what, it's not always going to work out that way. And then, whoops, the reversal didn't work out specifically the way I thought it would, right? Because not many reversals cover that higher angle because you're going to be in the air. Like I guess Garrus would. But most characters not so much, so a reversal is not going to save you from that kind of pressure. So this is definitely an avenue to be explored. So for the Kitana variation, the actual fireball, like it's all right. It's not bad. But the hop gimmicks with the fan toss, there's something there. Not the least of which, it will enable throw gimmicks for so many characters. Because Normally when you interrupt the throw, you know, the enemy bounces up and you bounce away. But you're always jumping this time around. You're not bouncing away. Which basically means, man, world's your oyster when it comes to like throw gimmicks and stuff. She's going to enable so much for so many characters. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Because it breaks the usual ambush cameo way throws get interrupted, right? Obviously some characters can do it still regardless. But it just kind of universalizes everything. Makes everything more universal, if that's a word, I don't know. But it just seems really strong. Mess around with it. You're almost certainly going to be able to find a throw combo with the Kitana fan toss. Now, let's talk the Mileena stance next. So the ambush call is 2 air sides. So almost similar like Sonya's square wave, I guess. This isn't too revolutionary. It's good. It's not bad at all. It works. If at minimum you're just looking for a little bit of screen control, it controls the upper part of the screen very easily as an ambush call. Regenerates very fast, so don't feel bad about spending that meter on it. And naturally enough, makes the whole combo thing pretty easy to do. Kind of just serves everything up on a big platter, right? So whatever extensions you're looking for whatever character, giant hitbox that relaunches people in the air, it's gonna work out. But the real magic is not the ambush call, it's the roll, which is wild. So the roll, this is almost similar to, like, say, the MKX version of the roll, right? So double hitting, double overhead, FYI, and then big old bounce. And sure enough, big old bounce combo, like, we've seen it all before, right? So easy combo extensions, that's great. The real threat, once again, is the overhead because of how fast it is. It's an 18-frame launching overhead, which is just bananas. 18 frames, unreactable, straight up. You're going to post in the comments, well, I can react. No, you can't. Shut up. Like, you're not reacting to an 18-frame overhead. And the fact that it's unreactable, like, launching, is crazy. Like, Scorpion gets the overhead that you can get a combo from as well, right? 30 frames. Much slower, much more reactable. Striker has an overhead too, right? 22 frames, so still slower, and it just splats the enemy. There's no combo potential. Like, it's not nothing, and it is advantage on block a little bit, right? So that's nice, but, you know, it's just 60 damage. That's it, that's all. So this being so much faster, that much more unreactable, and you get a full combo with, like, an ultra, like, look how high this launches here. Like, you got all the time in the world to do whatever you can dream up here, right? So, yeah, to say this is strong is underselling it. This is simply one of the single most powerful cameo moves in the game. Because once you're frustrating people, going low, 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 doing a lot of sweeps, doing a lot of pokes, whatever, a lot of down threes, a lot of down fours, right? People are just going to naturally block low, and they are simply not going to react fast enough to block this. So once Mileena is up at bat, your mix-up game gets exponentially more powerful. There's nothing, like, nuanced to say here. This is simply a sledgehammer of a move. This is a game-winning move. Like, a lot of people, they don't like the summons. They like, you know, the ambushes, because obviously ambush has a lot of utility. This being a summon is like a, I would say, like a direction change. Like, this has to, obviously this could not be an ambush, right? Double overhead could not be an ambush, but this is a powerful summon. So Mileena just gives you the big sledgehammer, double overhead. Jade gives you a lot of pressure with the boomerang, and obviously glow is just useful in and of itself. And Kitana gives you all sorts of gimmicks with short hops, super jumps, all that kind of stuff, whatever you want to call it. Just Khameleon is super interesting. And obviously there's the fact the character will change. You can have some control over it. Either you can force a switch after you do a call, or you can do the glass armor move and it'll automatically switch over to the next character. But, you know, it's still a bit of a randomized factor in that you just don't have full control over it. You know, you might be setting up something with the Jade Boomerang, and if you wait a split second too long, then it could switch over to Kitana, and then your opportunity's gone, right? And if you want to get back to Jade, you have to go through Mileena first, and then you can go back to Jade, because it is a fixed order, right? So the individual moves for all of the characters of Khameleon are all very strong, but the balancing factor here is you simply just don't have them all on demand whenever you want them. But overall, very powerful. Also, the throws are all different as well. Mileena throw does not do much damage, but it leaves you standing at plus 30. Jade's does 130 damage, which is a lot, much more than usual. And the Kitana one, big old knockdown and kind of, one-time kind of average, right? So even all the throws are different for the character. Once again, I keep saying this every time we got new cameos coming up here. Cameos like Tremor and what we already have here. Cameos are the real interesting aspect of the game. They really change the flow. Sometimes we get a little stupid, like, Cyrax Copter kind of just dominated everything for a while, because why would you pick anything else? And it was Lao Hat, now it's Striker Grenades. And, I called it all, by the way, a long time ago. I got that prescient forethought, I guess. But eventually, we'll get to the point where there's not just one dominant cameo, and we're going to start seeing some really fabulous things, especially just because Khameleon just allows so much in one cameo. So, very cool is my statement, I guess. And of course, now not too much longer till Peacemaker comes out, and I'm sure he's going to be pretty wild as well. And just interesting things on the forefront for Mortal Kombat 1. So that's a bit of an overview of Khameleon. Hope you enjoyed it, and I guess that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Mortal Kombat.